I caught my husband cheating with my stepsister. My stepdad told me to forgive them. 2 years later, I give them the shock of their lives. My name is Ellie, 28F, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty good life. I've been married to Jack, 30M, for 5 years, but our story goes back much further than that. Jack and I met in high school when I was a sophomore and he was a senior. It was love at first sight, and we've been together ever since. We made it through long distance when he went to college and got married in a beautiful ceremony in my parents' backyard right after I graduated. For the first few years of our marriage, everything was great. We both had steady jobs, bought a small house, and were talking about starting a family. Then, 3 years ago, my stepsister Mia, 25F, graduated from college. Mia came into my life when I was 12. My mom remarried after divorcing my dad, and suddenly I had a new stepfather and a stepsister who was 9 at the time. It wasn't easy at first, but over the years, Mia and I grew close. She was the little sister I never had, and I always tried to look out for her. After Mia's graduation, she struggled to find work in her field of graphic design. She was bouncing from one part-time job to another, trying to make ends meet while building her portfolio. During a family dinner, Mia mentioned she was thinking about moving to the city for better job opportunities. My stepdad was worried about the high cost of living in the city. That's when Jack suggested Mia could stay with us for a while. We had a spare room, and Jack said it would only be for a few months until Mia found her footing. I was hesitant at first. I loved Mia, but I valued my privacy. However, Jack insisted it would be fine. So, Mia moved in. At first, it was fun having her around. She'd cook dinner sometimes, and we'd have movie nights together. Jack and Mia got along great. They'd often stay up late discussing art and design. Jack had always been interested in photography. About 6 months into this arrangement, the pandemic hit. Suddenly, we were all stuck at home together. Jack and I transitioned to working from home, and Mia's job search became entirely virtual. Our once spacious house started to feel a lot smaller. I noticed changes in our dynamics. Jack started spending more time in his makeshift office in the basement, saying he had a big project he was working on. Mia seemed to become more confident and relaxed, landing a few freelance gigs and slowly building her portfolio. Last month, I finally landed a big promotion at work. I was ecstatic and wanted to celebrate with Jack. I decided to surprise him with lunch in his office. I rarely went there during work hours, but this was special. I knocked on the door, but there was no answer. I could hear muffled sounds from inside, so I knew he was there. Thinking he might be on a call, I opened the door quietly. What I saw next made my blood run cold. Jack and Mia were kissing passionately, completely lost in each other and oblivious to my presence. I stood there, frozen, unable to process what I was seeing. My husband and my stepsister. The two people I trusted most in the world, betraying me in the worst possible way. They finally noticed me, and the look of shock and guilt on their faces said it all. Without a word, I turned and ran out of the house. I drove aimlessly for hours, trying to make sense of what had happened. When I finally returned home, Jack was waiting for me. Mia was nowhere to be seen. Jack tried to explain, saying it had only happened a few times and that he was confused about his feelings. He begged me to understand, to give him a chance to figure things out. I couldn't bear to listen to his excuses. I told him to get out, to pack his things and leave by morning. He tried to argue, but I stood firm. The next day, after Jack had left, I called my mom and stepdad. Their reaction shocked me almost as much as Jack and Mia's betrayal. My mom, 52F, was devastated, but my stepdad, 55M, had a different take. He suggested that maybe I had misunderstood the situation, that perhaps Jack and Mia were just fooling around and I had jumped to conclusions. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My own stepdad was trying to downplay this betrayal. He even suggested that I should try to work things out with Jack, saying that marriage was about forgiveness and understanding. That was the last straw. I hung up and blocked their numbers. I also blocked Jack and Mia on all social media and my phone. I couldn't deal with any of them right now. It's been 2 weeks since that day. I filed for divorce and I'm staying with a friend until I can figure out my next move. I feel lost, betrayed, and angry. The two people I trusted most in the world have shattered that trust in the worst possible way. And my parents, who should be supporting me, are instead trying to sweep it under the rug. I keep replaying moments from the past few months in my head, wondering if there were signs I missed. Was Jack's late-night work actually time spent with Mia? Were there inside jokes and lingering glances more than just friendly banter? How long had this been going on right under my nose? I know I need to move forward, but I'm struggling to see a way out of this darkness. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my relationships, my family, has been turned upside down. How can I ever trust anyone again? Has anyone else been through something similar? How did you cope? Any advice would be appreciated because right now, I feel like my whole world has fallen apart. Update 1. It's been 3 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and support. Your messages gave me strength during some of my darkest days. The divorce proceedings are underway. Jack didn't contest it, which is the only decent thing he's done in this whole mess. I've moved out of our shared home and found a small apartment across town. It's not much, but it's mine, and it's a fresh start. Packing up our home was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Each item held a memory: the coffee maker we bought on our honeymoon in Italy, the throw pillows we argued over at IKEA, the framed photo from our first date at the state fair. I ended up leaving most of it behind. I couldn't bear to look at those reminders of what I thought was a happy life. About a month after my initial post, Mia tried to contact me. She left a voicemail, crying and begging for forgiveness. She said she never meant for any of this to happen, that she had always looked up to me and now she had ruined everything. She talked about how confused and scared she'd been about her feelings for Jack, and how it had all spiraled out of control. Part of me wanted to hear her out, to try to understand how my sweet stepsister could do this to me. I remember teaching her how to apply makeup, helping her with her college applications, being there for her first heartbreak. But a larger part knew that some betrayals are unforgivable. I deleted the message without responding. My mom and stepdad have been relentless in their attempts to contact me. They've called, texted, and even showed up at my workplace once. My mom seems to have come around, realizing the gravity of the situation. She left a tearful message apologizing for not supporting me from the start. She talked about how she'd always prided herself on raising her daughters to be honest and loyal, and how devastated she was that Mia had betrayed those values. But my stepdad? He's a different story. Last week, I finally agreed to meet my stepdad for coffee. I thought maybe he had come to his senses and wanted to apologize. I was wrong. He spent the entire time trying to convince me to give Jack another chance. He said things like, marriage is about working through difficulties, and everyone makes mistakes. He brought up how Jack had been there for our family when my mom was sick a few years ago, how he'd helped Mia get her first internship. When I refused to budge, he got angry. He accused me of being selfish and said I was tearing the family apart. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was the man who had become a father figure to me, who had always told me I deserved nothing but the best. Now he was telling me to accept this betrayal and move on. I stood up, looked him in the eye, and said, "No. Jack and Mia tore this family apart. And you're letting them." Then I walked out. That night, I received a barrage of texts from extended family members. Apparently, my stepdad had told everyone a twisted version of events, painting me as the villain who refused to forgive a small indiscretion. I was furious. I posted a brief statement on social media, explaining that I had caught my husband cheating with my stepsister and that I would not be discussing it further. Then I deactivated all my accounts. I couldn't deal with the pitying looks and whispered gossip. On a brighter note, I've thrown myself into my work. The promotion I got right before everything fell apart has been a saving grace. I've been working long hours, taking on extra projects. My boss has been incredibly understanding, giving me the space I need while also challenging me professionally. I got another promotion last month, and I'm starting to feel like myself again. I've also started volunteering at a local animal shelter on weekends. It's been therapeutic, caring for creatures who give unconditional love. There's a 3-legged pit bull named Buddy who's become my favorite. He was abandoned by his previous owners, but he's still the sweetest, most loving dog. In a way, I see a bit of myself in him, battered but not broken, learning to trust again. I'm not ready to date yet, but I've made some new friends through a support group for people going through divorces. It's comforting to know I'm not alone in this journey. We meet every week, sharing our stories and offering each other support. It's helped me realize that while my situation might be unique in its details, the pain of betrayal and the struggle to rebuild is universal. There are still difficult days. Days when I wake up reaching for Jack, only to remember he's gone. Days when I see a happy couple on the street and feel a pang of envy and sadness. Days when I miss Mia so much it hurts, only to remember what she did. But I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm learning to trust myself again, to believe in my own strength and resilience. And slowly but surely, I'm rebuilding my life. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with me. Your support has meant more than you know. Update 2. It's been 8 months since my world turned upside down, and 6 months since my last update. Life has a funny way of surprising you when you least expect it. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago. It was a relief to finally close that chapter of my life legally. Jack tried to reach out one last time before signing the papers. He sent a long email, full of apologies and explanations. He claimed he had been unhappy in our marriage for a while but didn't know how to express it. He said Mia had been a shoulder to cry on, and things had escalated from there. While I can sympathize with feeling stuck in a relationship, it doesn't excuse his actions or make the betrayal any less painful. I didn't respond to the email. Mia, on the other hand, has been persistent in her attempts to reconcile. She sent letters, emails, and even tried to reach me through mutual friends. In her latest attempt, she revealed something that shook me to my core. Apparently, her relationship with Jack didn't end when I caught them. They've been seeing each other secretly all this time. Mia claims she's in love with Jack and wants my blessing to pursue a relationship openly. She said they want to start fresh, maybe even move to a new city where no one knows their history. I was stunned. The audacity of her request left me speechless. After taking a few days to process this information, I sent Mia a brief response. I told her that while I no longer wish her ill, I cannot and will not give my blessing. Their relationship was born out of betrayal and deceit, and I want no part in it. I also made it clear that this would be the last time I engaged with her in any way. It was painful to cut ties with my stepsister, but I knew it was necessary for my own healing. As for my mom and stepdad, things have taken an unexpected turn. My mom finally stood up to my stepdad. She told him that his behavior was unacceptable and that if he couldn't support me, she would leave him. This ultimatum seemed to shake some sense into him. He reached out to me with a genuine apology, acknowledging his mistakes and asking for a chance to make amends. He admitted that he had been in denial, unable to accept that his daughter could do something so hurtful. He also confessed that he had been projecting his own fears onto the situation, fears about family falling apart, about losing his stepdaughter. While I'm not ready to fully trust him yet, I've agreed to take small steps towards rebuilding our relationship. We've started with weekly phone calls, keeping things light for now. On a personal note, I've made significant strides in my healing journey. I've been promoted to a leadership position at work, which has been both challenging and rewarding. The added responsibilities have given me a renewed sense of purpose. I'm leading a team now, and it feels good to be trusted with that responsibility. I've also started dating again, though I'm taking things very slowly. I met a kind man named Alex, 32M, through a mutual friend at a charity event. He knows about my past and has been incredibly patient and understanding. We've been seeing each other for a couple of months now, taking things one day at a time. It feels good to open my heart again, even if it's just a little. Alex is different from Jack in many ways. He's more introspective, more in touch with his emotions. He's an architect, and I love listening to him talk about his projects, the way he lights up when describing a new design. The animal shelter where I volunteer offered me a part-time position as an event coordinator. I've found that helping animals find their forever homes has been incredibly fulfilling. It's amazing how much love and joy these creatures can bring into your life. Buddy, the three-legged pit bull I mentioned in my last update, finally found his forever home with a lovely family. Watching him leave with his new family, tail wagging and full of joy, was a bittersweet moment. I'll miss him, but I'm so happy he's found his place in the world. While I still have moments of sadness and anger, they're becoming less frequent. I'm learning to trust again, not just others, but myself. I'm proud of how far I've come and excited about what the future holds. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with me. Your support has meant more than you know. Update 3. It's hard to believe that it's been a year and a half since that fateful day when my life changed forever. So much has happened, and I felt it was time for one final update. First, the big news: Alex and I got engaged last month. It wasn't a grand, elaborate proposal, just a quiet moment at home, which felt perfect. We were cooking dinner together, something we often do, and in the middle of chopping vegetables, he just turned to me and asked. It was simple, sincere, and completely us. He's been my rock through the final stages of healing from my past, and I can't imagine my life without him now. We're planning a small, intimate wedding for next spring. This time around, I'm not interested in a big, showy affair. What matters is the commitment we're making to each other. As for Jack and Mia, I've heard through the grapevine that they're still together. They moved to another state, presumably to escape the gossip and judgment. A mutual friend told me they're living in Seattle now, where Mia has found work as a graphic designer and Jack is working for a tech startup. While I no longer harbor anger towards them, I have no desire to have them in my life. I wish them well, but from a distance. It's strange to think about them building a life together, but I've come to accept that it's no longer my concern. My relationship with my mom and stepdad has slowly improved. My stepdad and I have had several heart-to-heart conversations where he's expressed genuine remorse for his initial reaction. He's been making a concerted effort to support me and respect my decisions. We're not as close as we once were, but we're in a much better place. Last month, he and my mom came to visit. It was a bit awkward at first, but by the end of their stay, it felt like we were finally starting to heal as a family. They're excited about the wedding and have been incredibly supportive of my relationship with Alex. Professionally, I've continued to thrive. I was headhunted by a competing firm and accepted a position as department head. It's been challenging but incredibly rewarding. I'm leading a team of 15 people now, and while it's stressful at times, I love the sense of accomplishment it brings. The animal shelter work has also expanded. We've partnered with local schools to create an education program about responsible pet ownership. Seeing kids light up when they interact with the animals is incredibly heartwarming. Alex and I bought a house together recently. It's an old fixer-upper, but we're enjoying the process of making it our own. There's something therapeutic about tearing down the old walls and building something new. In a way, it feels like a metaphor for my life these past couple of years. I've also reconnected with my biological dad. After everything that happened with my mom and stepdad, I reached out to him. We've been having regular phone calls and even met up for lunch a few times. It's been nice getting to know him as an adult, and he's been incredibly supportive of everything I've been through. Looking back, I'm amazed at how much I've grown. The pain of betrayal no longer defines me. Instead, it's become a chapter in my story, one that made me stronger, more compassionate, and more aware of my own worth. I've learned that it's okay to be vulnerable, to let people in, but also to set boundaries and stand up for myself. There have been unexpected silver linings too. This experience has taught me who my true friends are, the ones who stood by me during the darkest times. It's also given me a newfound appreciation for the simple joys in life: a quiet evening at home, a good book, a walk in the park with Alex. To anyone out there going through something similar, know that healing is possible. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but you can rebuild your life. Surround yourself with people who support you, focus on your personal growth, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. There will be setbacks and difficult days, but each one makes you stronger. I still have moments where the pain resurfaces. Sometimes I'll see a couple that reminds me of Jack and me in our early days, or I'll come across an old photo of Mia and me as kids. But these moments no longer derail me. They're just echoes of the past that I've learned to accept and move beyond. As for the future, Alex and I are talking about starting a family of our own in a couple of years. The thought of becoming a mother both excites and terrifies me, but I know that whatever challenges come our way, we'll face them together. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with me. Your support, advice, and kind words have been invaluable. While this will be my last update on this matter, know that I'm moving forward with hope, love, and excitement for the future. Life has a way of surprising you, sometimes in painful ways, but also in beautiful ones. Here's to new beginnings and the strength we find within ourselves.